Name is Kavesh, and I'm one of the organizers for the Music for Palestine shows.
Because inherently punk's always been political. Punk's always been in solidarity with oppressed communities. And you see it, man. You see it in Joburg a lot. You see a lot of charity-driven shows.
But I know there's like other bands out there that want to spread a message, but their members are just trying to play it safe, because if they do offend the wrong people, then maybe their opportunities may be limited. I think maybe that's our artists do.
The selection of artists has been great. Kavesh and Yakin pulled a very diverse lineup, and I think that's just going to bring a lot of different people to the show, and fill it with a lot of different crowds that are all like-minded towards the cause.
Sweet guys, welcome back to another episode of Sludge Underground. I have got a very special set of guests here with me today, talking about something very important, something that they are doing. Boys, I'm going to let you explain a little bit more, introduce yourselves, and tell me what it is you're doing.
Name is Kavesh, and I'm one of the organizers for the Music for Palestine shows, and I'll be directly working with the Joburg show.
Sick. I'm Berty. I play for a band called Necklace, and we are playing the Free Palestine show on the 11th of October.
Oh, fantastic! And you say that you're working with the Joburg show. Is this happening across in different cities as well, as far as I'm aware?
Yes, it is. So Durban and Cape Town.
Okay, fantastic. So Joburg, Durban, Cape Town is where the three shows are happening.
It's super cool that we're seeing this around the country, because I remember one of the earlier, Free Palestine shows. There've been many, but one of the earlier ones was hosted actually in Joburg, almost a year ago. I think it was hosted on the 11th of
Yeah, that
August.
was such a great show. Like, I wish I got that shirt. By the time I
Yeah,
arrived,
this shirt
it was
came out
sold
of it,
out.
dude. Yeah, there were amazing bands that played. And then you just started to see, the different cities in South Africa following through. I think Cape Town did the one after that, and then Durban followed suit. So yeah, it was beautiful to see, this alternative music community come together, and just grow.
What inspired you guys to actually put this event together and, help give out that voice through music?
Yeah, for a long time, I was thinking as an individual, like I have a lot to contribute, and unfortunately, there's like a lot of like nihilistic attitude towards like activism and doing the right thing, where they think I'm an individual, but I can't do anything. But I was like, I'm not in a powerful position, but I can do what I can do. So it stems from that. And with Yakin and the Le Folklore boys, who are trying to make the scene good and show that, yes, there is people out there willing to make that change or give towards making that change. Yeah, and that's where it all comes from for me. The same with people like Berty and that side of the scene. Like, they do a lot of work, like, the Feed the Hunger show recently. I couldn't go for that one, but I'm sure it was a success.
Yeah, dude. No, it's beautiful, and I'm starting to see it more and more in our scene, shows aren't just being hosted for music. It's growing towards, it's for good, like we played the Feed the Needy show in Soweto a little over a month ago, and that was beautiful, we gave money and food to those in need. And something like this Free Palestine show is coming up at, such a great time, because it has been so long we've seen something like this in Joburg. And, it's not just for the music. I really have to stress this to people. The music is an addition. This is a community, sort of driven form of resistance and support towards Palestine. We have to stress that the music is just the plus. It's people coming together for a cause, and it's a fundraiser. It's here to raise funds to give to the people of Palestine. So it's not just going to a show to get drunk and party. There's a bigger reason behind it.
Yeah, and then that's why we in the scene is to meet other people and connect, and what connects them is music. But as Bertie said, music is just like not the main draw of this. Is to just get everyone together for something that affects everyone, essentially. Like, I always tell people, like, what happening in Gaza can happen to us. I mean, it happened to us already with apartheid, and there it's like, I think it's a lot worse in Gaza. So Yeah, and I think as South Africans, we need to like be in solidarity because we did go through this. Like, granted, I'm one of the born frees. I was born after '94, and my parents went through that, and my grandparents. And to see the more extreme version of this happening in Gaza, it's heartbreaking. And there's only so much we can do as individuals. So yeah, like that's why I had this in mind for planning this entire show.
Do you think an event like this gives people a unified voice? It gives someone who has that kind of mindset of I, as an individual, cannot do anything. It kind of gives them something to gravitate towards. Of well, I might not be able to do anything, but I'm being drawn to a group of people that collectively we may be able to do something.
Yes, I think so. I think also why with the selection of bands, Yakin and I were talking about, we wanted to bring a mix of metal and also punk, and like bringing those two sides of the scene together. Because in the metal scene, like yeah, there's a whole market and audience for that, but I don't really see them doing anything for charity unless it's like an own event they themselves plan, like amongst the bands. Yeah, and like I want to see that more in the metal scene because the message and stuff they talk about in that music. It's I want them to put money where their mouth is, and maybe this could inspire more shows. Not just that scene, but in general.
If I can add on Kavesh's point, I think coming from the punk scene, we do see a lot of fundraising shows happen, because inherently punk's always been political. Punk's always been in solidarity with oppressed communities. And you see it, man. You see it in Joburg a lot. You see a lot of charity driven shows. And I think, to add again on Kavesh's points, the artist selection is great because it's going to pull such a diverse crowd of so many different people, who are all very like minded. Like you go to a show, man. You go to a show, everyone's pre Palestine at a show, dude. Everyone's in for this cause. So it's beautiful to see that this is happening for this cause that we're also, involved in and in solidarity with.
No, absolutely. And like speaking of that like lineup, I see that, just a list of the bands that you've got who are going to be performing on the night. It's Middle Ground, Le Focolori, Sklikakliada, Crash in the Void, Drunk Wizard, Necklace, and Kalen Hill. And are these guys that kind of reached out to you as, you know, they wanted to be involved, or did you guys go out to each of these bands and express kind of, hey, this is the vision, we can see that you guys are active supporters of this, do you want to be involved?
One of the ideas for the show was like from Brandon himself, like from Middle Ground, and they always wanted to do like a charity show and also play at the secret venue that they always wanted to play.
The
Yeah.
secret
So I was like
venue, dude.
the secret venue. So yeah, like getting back to the question, yeah, like he always wanted to do that, and I was like, okay. Middle Grounds is a very political band. Like if you check their lyrics, I think one of the lyrics discusses like apartheid, which is white picket purgatory, which I assume is like kind of white people's reaction towards apartheid back then. So yeah, very political band, and yeah, that was like one of the first bands I could think of reaching out. Of course, LaFork. I mean, it's LaFork. Like they always had politics in their music as well. Kalen as well. Like Kaylin's in it for like mental health and helping people, so this kind of aligns with her vision as well. Crash in the Void, they played at our GBV show that we organized earlier this year, and yeah, they put on a good show. Skrikkeljaar is punk, but like speaking to Eli and stuff, it's more in the Afrikaans sense, but yeah, it could also pull in that crowd because we need a diverse crowd for this. And Necklace, I was at Lara, and that's when I saw Berty.
Everyone in Necklace is involved in this, man. Everyone in Necklace is super, pro free Palestine. And, when Kavesh came to us and shared that he was planning on doing this, I like jumped on him. I was like, dude, book us. We want to be a part of this, just not to play and say that we were a part of it, but just to bring our community and, just help with filling the rooms and playing music for a cause, dude. A lot of the time playing music can feel like you're just playing to, a room of fools, drunk people. And I don't mean to say that to speak down to the crowd because I love the crowd. But it's extra special when you play an event and you play a show and it's directed towards something good, man. Like it's super empowering, not only as an artist but also as a crowd member, dude. It's like you're there for a reason.
Yeah, it gives purpose beyond just being there for a good time. I can see that.
Last band is Drunk Wizard, and yeah, sorry I forgot to mention them, but like yeah, they very close friends of mine, and Danny and the gang have always been like also political and within that like space. And Drunk Wizard is a more heavier punk stuff, and I think again another band that suits this lineup for me. It doesn't matter if the music doesn't directly speak to the issue. It's like as long as like for me the people behind it really believe in the issue. Yeah, and that's my thing. Because obviously, not a lot of artists will directly address Palestine and all of that. So yeah, as long as they believe in the cause for me.
The selection of artists has been great. You know, Kavesh and Yakin pulled a very diverse lineup, and I think that's just going to bring a lot of different people to the show. You know, and fill it with a lot of different crowds that are all like-minded towards the cause.
It could have a very interesting and varied result based on how it goes. And what I want to ask is do you think, like, speaking about artists and a lot of the messages behind their music or the messages that the artists themselves kind of preach, do you think that there's a case of too much where artists are trying to stay too far down the middle as to appease as many different people as possible?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Again, like we probably have both different answers for this, but yeah, I think artists. I think what the way I've seen is, obviously there'll be different artists that fulfill different niches or scratch a certain itch. Like, obviously, I don't expect Crash to like always make political music, for example. But I know that they are for good causes. But I know there's like other bands out there that want to spread a message, but their members are just trying to play it safe because if they do offend the wrong people, then maybe their opportunities may be limited. I think maybe that's why artists do it, and I don't blame them because there's like obviously there's people that you may not agree with politically or personally that in that position to determine whether your music is put out there for the local masses or not.
Yeah, I have to say, like, as an artist, what I see, you know, in our scene, we have a lot of super political bands, you know, who feel very free to share their own opinions and you know, push their agenda. Um, but the discourse I'm seeing around in our scene is that everyone is in solidarity with Palestine. You know, I don't think any band has come out against that. It's more of a case that they'll be, you know, really in solidarity with it and vocal. Or some bands just prefer, you know, to leave the politics out of things and, you know, go about just focusing on the music. But I also think, you know, again, being in the punk scene, inherently it's political. Inherently, people are going to have their opinions on these things, and that's great, you know, because again, it's not just music. It's using your platform and your community to spread a message, and I think that's yeah, it's just really empowering.
I just want to add on to that with punk, a lot of, and I'm not talking about music, it's kind of off topic, but how it connects to everything is that a lot of hardcore, like heavier music, even thrash metal, is derived from punk. And early thrash metal, even like probably Berty knows, like very political. Like I think bands like Slayer spoke about, I think Angel of Death, which is like my favorite song, spoke about what the Nazis did. So like again, originated from that. So like always wonder why with metal, they always try to divorce themselves from politics for some reason when inherently like the heavier genres I see people play, it's always been political.
You know, I think you're raising a good point. Like away from this interview though, Kavesh. Like, and I only find really the punks are like super vocal about what's happening in politics, and you find the metal scene. You know, I'm not too clued in on the metal scene, but what I have seen is that people aren't so vocal about what's happening in the world right now in the metal scene. You know, and I don't know why it's like that.
Responding to your question, Bertie, it's like okay, so a lot of the popular bands I listen to, like Knock Loose and stuff, popular hardcore bands, they play at hardcore fest and they're very political. I think the genre is inherently political. I mean, you probably like know of hardcore music anyway because you're punk. So It's just that the lines get blurred when it's like metalcore, and people still want that tag of metal and stuff. But for some reason, they don't want to lean in into like, they speak about community, and as someone that's been in like the metal scene like since 2017, of that crowd, I very rarely I see them do stuff that's like outside of the community. Like usually that fundraisers for like individuals who are going through a lot, and that's valid. But I really see like something very political, like something is like the issue of GBV, corruption, whatever. I hear it being spoken about, but like nothing's been done to like at least donate to relevant organizations that deal with that, stuff like that. For some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, like it's a inherently counterculture genre of music, but for some reason, it's like they're trying to be conformist and safe. I don't get it.
No, that is an interesting point of view, and it does raise like a couple of questions.
I know I'm just talking shit about the metal scene, and I know like some people get offended.
And then speaking of like organizations involved and stuff like that, tell me a bit more about the foundation that you guys are going through for the proceeds of this event. It is the Gift of the Givers. Tell me a little bit more about how you guys chose this foundation and how that's ended up coming about.
So last year I did the poster for the Zulek Palestine event, which Bertie referenced at the beginning of the recording. I think Jesse or someone in the group chat like suggested gifts to give, Jesse or Lucas. I forgot. I must actually go back and check, but it's like irrelevant now. But yeah, like one of them suggested gift to the givers, and they actually had their own stand there and stuff. Like they came like proper professional stuff at while there was motion and chaos happening. No, they were just happy over there. Like I always wanted to ask them, like, what do you think of this? But like, everyone's there, so like I was just yapping, so I never got to ask them. But I was like thinking, I was signing a keen, like there's several organizations, but I know Gift to the Giver is one of the biggest ones. And I just sent them an email because I went on the website, and within a day they responded, and all they wanted to see was the posters, and that's what the process was for. And they loved the posters that I did. Durban couldn't find their own fundraiser, so I decided to ask Give to the Givers permission for that. And how it's gonna work is that once we pay like our expenses, like sound guy, then the rest of it will go to Give to the Givers.
At the last Free Palestine show that happened at the Zulek Bowls, rest in peace, the Zulek Bowls. Um, yeah, we used Gift of the Givers, and they were super helpful. Again, I think it's irrelevant who got them on, but they were super helpful, and we donated all the proceeds for the show to them. And I'm not specifically too aware on where the money does go. I think that's maybe something that would be good on our part to um, sort of follow up on. But I do know from working with them in the past that they are a trustworthy organization.
I'm not personally too familiar with any of the organizations involved, but I do believe I've heard of Gift of the Givers in a couple of from a couple of different places at the very least. And it would be interesting to see what they actually do with the funds. And I think I do think that is something that also, how do I say it bugs a lot of people. They would want to be involved, but that kind of concept of where does that money go? Where does it actually get used for? I think knowing that and kind of seeing the receipts for it appeases or puts a lot of people's minds at ease. Um, like I know that can it, honestly, it shouldn't necessarily be the case, but with the unfortunate state of the world that we live in, where corruption is so prevalent, where embezzlement is so prevalent, and just general human greed is so prevalent, it makes a lot of people, as Kavesh said earlier, it makes people extremely nihilistic of what is even the point, and it's not something that you like to see. But it is interesting. It's something that would be cool to add on for later as well. As a good question, and hopefully draw a few more people to the cause and see from there, and just let people decide.
I want to add on that point. I think in hosting something like this, it's really important to be transparent with the costs that go into the show, and even more importantly, transparent with where the money donated goes. Because at the end of this day, this is a fundraiser. So we just want to ensure that all the financial dealings are done ethically and fairly. And it is crappy that we might have to post receipts and this or that. But honestly, I think it's better so that people can actually see where things are going. Because if you donate money into something and it just disappears and you never hear back from it, you start to question if it was used for things, or what it was even used for. So I actually do think the idea of receipts are a great idea.
Another thing that we are planning with Give to the Givers, I think Yakin mentioned on the group, we're gonna buy a box and we're gonna get letters, and people can write letters. So when it does the aid or something arise in Gaza, I'll email them and ask them if they can get the box there. But at least something from all the audience, someone can write, anyone can write towards the people that are in Gaza. So that's also another way to see like where the money's going as well.
Mm.
Like we have like little placeholder over there with the box if they can get it there.
Yeah, no, that is actually a really interesting idea. It'll be really cool to see how that pans out. And then one last question for you boys, and last point of topic with this is, what venue are you guys doing this at?
So
Yeah,
the venue's a secret and be a very special surprise. But I'm sure a lot of people guessed it. But yeah, I'm not
yeah.
saying anything. And yeah, hopefully next week we can actually post the venue that it's happening, because everything is set. Last thing we need to work on is, so I managed to get one of the VITS Palestine organizations onto this. So I just want to see if we can organize a stand for them. At least have an organization at the show.
Mm.
Speak to Chris Yakin about that to plan that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, other than that, it's like basically go ahead. We're gonna do decorations and all of that
yeah,
on the day. Yeah, when at the venue. So everything's
yeah.
planned. We just need a go ahead and announcement to actually do it.
Yeah, I have to say it's also so cool that we're getting the Wits Palestine community on the show. Because it just draws in a bit more of a youth culture, and it's great to work with politically aware youths, man. I'm so happy that you contacted them, Kavesh, and got them on this. Yeah, and hopefully they do have their table with gift of the givers.
I will shout out to. It was actually two people that suggested. My two friends Sage and Vaughn. I think Sage wanted to have a punk show at Vits, and I don't know when that will ever happen. If it does, it'd be so cool. And one of the organizations, one of the organizations that Sage is part of, is that Palestine youth thing at Vits, and I think a couple weeks ago, like I was speaking to Vaughn, and Vaughn suggested like contact that organization, and that's where the idea came from. Uh, yeah, like something that because a lot of the members I know of this organization like are in the scene from what I've seen all the follows and mutuals, so they've been to Smoking Kill, so I'd rather have familiar faces there, like at least helping or organizing that part of the show.
And then also having those two sort of platforms involved and at the show, it, I would say that I would argue that it adds a little bit more like credibility to what it is that you're doing. Um, there is like a source of information, of discourse, of people to actually talk to who would be
Yeah.
significantly more clued into the events that are unfolding. Because let's be honest, staying up to
Mm.
date in 2025 is fucking terrifying. Um,
Oof.
every other piece of
It
news
is
is fucking
overwhelming.
horrifying. It
Yo,
yeah, like
It's
I swear to God, it's
it,
horrifying at this point in time.
whenever I open my Instagram, I just see a hate 56 video of like a child or being shot and dismembered, like not, but like the aftermath, and then I see News 24 like post an article based on like that incident, be like, and it'll be like so scrubbed, like these, sanitized, not talking about the actual issue. And it's like, oh, Israeli army was targeting hospitals because Hamas or something, like something that's Western media sanitized. And then when I check 856, so like, yeah, it's like this, it's overwhelming. There's like the truth, and there's like uh all that, like kind of on topic, off topic. As a football fan, like Israel still being allowed to play or potentially qualify for the World Cup is such a travesty. Like they banned Russia within a few days. UEFA banned Russia and FIFA when they invaded Ukraine, but not Israel. And that will always not make sense to me. And I'm glad football players and stuff are speaking about it. But then a lot of people, again, or the football fan base in general, are not clued up on that thing. They just see it as some like random political issue that's, just leave it in the Middle East. Like, why should we care about that? So yeah, it's that in addition to like, I'm sorry for like just over yapping now, but it's like I said, it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming.
You guys are very clearly passionate for the cause. It's great to see that people are passionate about things and what music can do for a community or within the community. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with me. And yeah, I'm super keen to see what happens next week.
Dude, thank you, Marcel, for like allowing us to have a platform to speak about this. We appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
And thank you again to Sludge in general for like highlighting a lot of artists I wouldn't know. Like Bertie, without Sludge, I wouldn't discover like half the bands that I know now. Because Sludge been there for years. And yeah, they do a lot of work for that side of the scene. And I wanted reason why I went to Sludge, because I want to kind of unite both. I want Sludge to be also that conduit like online, because they have such a reach. And maybe after this, we can get like people from like I mean our scene, because I also attend shows, by your side, like to come on Sludge as well, like get that reach out.
Yeah, I think like Sludge, I love what Sludge is doing. I don't think there's any other, account that's doing what Sludge is doing. And we'd love to see you come more to the Joburg punk scene, man. Like we've got such a burgeoning, beautiful scene. Like I'm biased. I'm gonna say this. I'm biased. We're the best scene in South Africa. I'm saying it. I'm biased. The Johannesburg punk scene is the best scene in South Africa.
Dude, I just want Sludge at a Soweto show. Like
Yes,
straight
dude.
up.
Yeah,
They had a
yeah,
Soweto show.
yeah.
I want you guys to know that, like, I have no aversions to doing this. It's just the logistics of getting there.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no, of
I
course.
want you
We
We got
guys
to
to
get
know
a
that
we,
I
we
got
can
hookup.
plan
got
something.
nothing against the punk scene. I would be going to punk shows if I could get there. Like,
Someone must get this guy an Uber, guys. Come on.
So yeah, so the venue is Smoking Kills.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And
the
it feels
cat's
so
out the
right.
bag.
It feels so right that it's happening at SK, man. Because it's been closed for so long, and coming back, first weekend open, it's a free Palestine show. It feels so right, man. SK is the home for alternative culture in Joburg. So it opening with a free Palestine event just feels right. It's
Honestly, about SK, can't sing its praises enough. Like when I'm at SK, compared to when I was at Crest the Rumors or any of those other places, I felt so comfortable at SK. Like, and I don't want to bring up like race or anything in this because I don't people take the wrong way. But like, as a brown person that also attends these shows, like when I'm at SK, it feels like I'm not really like like out of the I don't know, like out of it. It's like I'm part of it. Like I just remember, like first time I saw Berty was him like spin kicking people with his docks. That was crazy as shit. I just remember that, and I was like, no,
yeah,
SK is the place for me. Like
yeah,
after I saw that shit, I was
yeah.
like,
Dude, I started playing shows at SK. I was like in grade 11 in high school, like a snotty punk, dude. I just wanted to cause mayhem. And now that I'm a little older, like SK holds such a special place in my heart, dude. When I was younger, going there was just, this place with graffiti. But now that I'm a little bit older, I can see, like this is a bar that holds culture. And, Chris and the people involved, they're really there to uplift the community. And listen, it's been a pity that it's closed, but I'm just so proud that it's happening at SK, man. And you go to SK, even in the past when it was open, you go to SK, you sit down at a table with someone, you share a cigarette with them, you get into a bit of political discourse. Everyone's aligned with this cause, guys. You won't sit at any table that will look differently to this cause. Everyone wants to have a free Palestine, and I'm just so happy it's happening at SK, like a place, a home for punks, a home for alternative culture. So it just feels so right.
yeah, and like that place, its atmosphere, everything about it, the way it's run, it's so professional, and like there's no issues at SK. When there's an issue, like it's dealt with immediately within that. Whenever there's a thing at SK, and people at least feel safe, then that's the most important thing is safety.